We live? Hello, hello. Dale Majors here. Welcome. Today is a live video, and it's my editor's birthday today. So happy birthday to Pia in the Philippines. We love you. You're great. You're awesome. And we've got a couple videos in the pipe coming down, and this one's live because I really want to share with you a certain principle about avoiding, offense and defense. And so have you ever felt that you've really been like trying to break a bad habit, or you're on a diet and you're trying to stay away from sweets, and you're so focused about avoiding carbs and avoiding the junk food, and you're so focused on these bad things you're avoiding. So, and the flip side of that, I want to talk about the flip side and really throw a mindset shift, how you can make it much easier to get over bad habits and be that kind of inner champion, okay? So by the end of this video, I want you to have a new perspective on how you can go about some of the initiatives in your life. So be thinking about that as I go through this. So first off, in Sunday school, growing up, they used to tell this story about this transportation company who was interviewing wagon drivers, and they interviewed 3 of these wagon drivers, and the first one, they said, okay, imagine you're going down this canyon, and there's one part where there's a cliff falling off, and I want to know how close you would feel comfortable getting your wagon to that edge, to the drop-off. How close could you get to that and still make it with your horses? And one guy said, I could make it 6 inches. And the other guy says, I could get within 3 inches of the cliff without, all of us going overboard. And the third guy said, I'm going to stay as far away from that cliff as I possibly can. I'm just going to stay away from it. So think about that. 2, another story to illustrate this point. My wife and I we were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, beautiful place. There's a bike path, 16 miles or so, that goes through 2 tunnels, train tunnels, multiple tunnels, but one of them is 2 miles long. And we read a lot of reviews and kind of psyched ourselves out on this trail, because they said, the tunnel is dangerous. It would be dangerous for kids because there's these drop-offs on either side that go into these gutters. And then when you're out and about on the trail, like there's places where you could totally like fall off on a cliff, fall off the edge. And I'm thinking, wow, Brittany, maybe we shouldn't do this. But she's brave and adventurous. She's like, no, we're probably going to be fine. So we get there, and it's a big tunnel. They're big. It's a big tunnel. And the drop-offs, while they were there and you wouldn't want to go in, you'd really have to like kind of go out of your way to fall in. It wasn't near as scary. If you focus on staying away from those edges and you just focus on riding in the center, you're going to be completely fine. But these people are so worried about the edges, where when you were actually there and you just say, no, we're just not going to, why would we ride close to the edge? That's crazy. So the counter to that, okay, so we have both of these mindsets where you're like, I could get this close to the edge. I could get this close to that. I could use Facebook for an hour a day and still be really productive or whatever, right? Maybe we're going to the conclusion too soon. Third story. I had a wrestling coach named Coach Holtree, one of the most influential people in my life. And he didn't focus on a lot of his messages. While he said, don't eat sweets, he was aspirational. He talked about be a champion. A champion does one more. You want to be the kid that does his best in wrestling and in school and at home. You can't be a good wrestler if you're not a good son. You need to be amazing. There was this aspirational message of really doing your best. So how do you do a diet? Do you go about a diet with, I need to avoid all these carbs and do these things? Or do you say, I'm going to run a flippin' marathon or a triathlon, an Ironman, and I'm going to be like Hugh Jackman in Wolverine. I'm going to be so amazing. I'm going to be able to do all these things. When you're focused on being amazing and awesome and you have this big aspiration and you dream and see big things for yourself, is it going to be easier to stay away from the cake and cookies? And I would say that it is. So in the book Atomic Habits, he talks a lot about, am I the kind of person who? So if we see ourselves as this aspirational character who is a champion, who is going to run a marathon, who's going to do a 5K or just get off the couch, something aspirational, then we're not really thinking about, then we're not the person that is going to binge and eat the whole sleeve of Oreos right before bed, because those two people are very different. So who do we identify ourselves as? And I would say that it's just so important to identify ourselves as the aspirational person that we want to be. So they say that you become like the people that you spend the most time with. As you join a community, you will become like them. If you get a new job, you're going to become like your coworkers. If you get new friends, you're going to become like them. All these people aren't going to necessarily just become like you. So we need to put ourselves in situations where we become like those people, and we need to aspire in an aspirational way to be like Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. No, I'm just kidding. But how does this apply to you? And that's my question, is if you're in whatever you're trying to do, are you focused more on defense? I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Or are you focused on chasing something? If you're aspiring and chasing towards something, you don't have near as much time to focus on the other stuff. So if you're riding down the tunnel, then and you're focused on, I'm going to stay in the middle of this thing and I'm going to ride fast, then you're not going to be dilly-dallying by the edge. So you're not going to fall in the gutter. If you're the wagon driver, you're not going to be looking over the edge all the time to see how close you can get to it. You're just going to hug the wall, the canyon wall. You're going to stay, am I even using the canyon analogy, right? Like if you're in a canyon, is there a cliff there? But you know what I mean, right? You're going to stay in the safe zone. So if you get distracted every night by social media, create rules around that. What are you going to do instead, though? Don't just focus on, I try not to use social media at night, which is easy for us to do, right? Instead, you say, man, no, I read every night. I have a book that I love to read. Or, whatever it is that you do. Create something where there's this positive, awesome adventure that you can go on, aspirational, something positive and great that you can do, instead of, I need to not do this in the nighttime or in the daytime, or I'm avoiding this. I need to stop eating cookies, right? I run every day, and I am getting fit, and I'm going to do a marathon, so I just can't even afford to go and hang out at the dessert bar forever. So that's the idea. The positive versus negative. My friend Sky shared some real wisdom with me in our Facebook group. If you're interested in, I'm kind of growing it really slow, bringing some people in. And hey, if you stayed here until 8 minutes and 21 seconds, you might be interested. If you're interested in discussing these like self-help tips and everything else, then comment on the video and let me know, and I can invite you to the Facebook group. It's called Personal Momentum right now. And I may change the name later. We started it 2 days ago. We've got like 35 really motivated people in it right now. But Sky, he shared, I love the offense-defense thing, Dale, and I know where you're going, and I agree with your thing. But in Taekwondo, we focus on, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Sorry to mix up my martial art disciplines. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we focus on the ABCs. It's like the airway, the blood, the breathing, and circulation. You have to defend and make sure that you still can breathe, that you've got circulation, and that your airway, breathing, circulation, whatever, that all of those are safe, so you create the conditions so you can mount an attack. So in life, it's the same thing. What kind of conditions are you creating? If you're addicted to the phone, and if you're addicted to anything bad that doesn't help you be more productive, that gets you down, then you need to fix those things so you can mount an attack. All of us are so capable of getting what we want, and we have that seed inside of us, and we know what we're capable of if we can just get over it and do it and not betray ourselves. So we got to keep onto that dream, and that's the whole idea of Venture Anyway. Look at all this new merchandise that I've got. That's the whole idea of venture anyway, right? Is to hold on to the dream and do those things that we need to do and not betray ourselves. So offense, defense, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And thank you for joining me today. And I'll see you on the next video.